Okay.
There it is.
Beautiful
There
Friday day.
it is.
There we are. There we are. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the ticket. Who used to say that? John, what's that comedian? John from Saturday Night Live.
John Lovell?
John, I forget what his name is. I'll tell you, this getting old stuff is no joke. When it comes to memory, I mean, oh my God. It is crazy.
No, I know.
What a beautiful Friday, though, huh, Jersey? Even Jersey's beautiful today.
It is beautiful, and I'm going to try to do a park walk today and hit 10,000 steps again.
Oh.
You know, when the weather's permitting, I can hit 10,000 steps 5 days a week. Because
Yeah.
I don't think 7 is necessarily good for
Yeah.
somebody my age. But not when it's 98 degrees and the humidity is just suffocating. There's no way. I tried it, and I was like,
I think Monday, all the way, if we can remember all the way back to Monday, John, I went walking at night, Brookdale Park in Bloomfield, and it was humid again. For some reason, it was like a day, it wasn't humid, then it was humid. And I'm like, this is no joke, you know?
right.
It was a tough walk. You know, I shortened it up a little bit and kept going, but we did it. But yeah, if you can't walk, it's a 2-mile trek, you know? I can't walk around
That's a nice walk.
Oh,
but that's
yeah.
such a beautiful park, too.
Little hill going up.
Especially since they
coming
took
down.
all the Cougines out.
Oh, yeah. They got people
That
all
was
over there.
back in the late 80s, wasn't it?
Late 80s.
Mid-80s?
Used to circle it. Just circle. Guys, carloads of guys, carloads of girls.
It was ridiculous
It
for a
was.
point. Like you couldn't find a parking space.
Yeah.
People were out there, you know, waxing their expensive.
Whatever they were. Yeah.
What was the car? The Z-Rock or something?
Oh, IROC. Yeah. Camaros. Yeah, all that stuff. So.
And every once in a while, after like 100 Camaros, some little Poindexter would slide by in like a Porsche Carrera, like, fuck you.
One time, I mean, listen, I was part of that community, John, you know, and me and my friends were in our car, and we all had that, doing that miracle lean to the center of the car. And some old guy was crossing the street. I guess my friend cut it too close. This old guy called us every ethnic slur you could think of. He was a little bitter. But, I mean, look, we took it in stride, and we just kept going. You know, back then you didn't get too excited. You know, we didn't have to call the cops.
The drivers of those cars used to lean to the center console.
Yeah, yeah.
Not to the door, to the center console.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. A Miracle Mile.
Michael with his white Continental with red interior. I won't say his last name. If he's watching, he'll know.
That was like 70 Michaels. You know?
Michael P.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, the good old days, right? We always end up going to the good old days part of these segments, John.
And me, I had a rusty Datsun B210 with rust holes straight through it.
Well, how about before that, though?
Well, the Guzzler.
The Guzzler.
The Guzzler.
When gas was cheap.
You could play a full complement baseball game in that car.
That was what?
I
was a New That was what? A New Yorker, right? Was it a Newport?
It was
Chrysler
Newport. It was a 1964, I think.
It was from here to the
From here to eternity.
From here to the street. Unbelievable.
When you slammed the doors of that car, boom! It was like, wow!
It's slammed.
Yeah.
You know, I was in a building today in Asbury Park, an old restaurant.
You're all over the place.
Bro, I'm no joke. And I had to go in this old building, and it was a real rustic-looking tavern / bar / pub, whatever you want to call them nowadays. And to open the door, it creaked, John, but it was real heavy, just like your car. A real heavy door, the way you used to make it. And this door was so olden, but it was real heavy.
Was it a bar in Asbury?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm serious.
You're being sarcastic.
No,
yes,
because I know a lot of the places.
Yeah, I'm not really sure because the person actually had 3 restaurants in one location, 3 separate kitchens, a Mexican, Italian, and then the bar pub. And they were connected by an alleyway in between. It was like amazing. I said, you guys are crazy.
God bless the mob.
Oh, yeah. It didn't look too mobster, but...
3 bars in Asbury Park? come on.
Do you know what the a liquor license in Asbury Park goes
It's
for?
got to be more than $1 million. 2 million?
Over. Yeah.
You know what? That's all politics. That's just the local politicians doing the job of the tomato crew to say, "Don't worry, we got you. Just keep the skate coming, Ray, and we'll keep everybody else out because who's going to pony up $2.5 million to fucking sell Schlitz at fucking Asbury Park?"
Schlitz. What made a comeback? Rheingold? Pabst.
You think
PBR.
Pabst? Yeah.
Pabst Blue Ribbon. All the young kids call it PBR. Yeah.
Remember the Pabst brewery on the Parkway?
Absolutely.
My Uncle Johnny worked there.
Oh, yeah?
He was a driver. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He used to deliver all of the Pabst to Yankee Stadium.
Oh, wow.
And he knew all of the Giants, and he used to give the Giants these gorgeous Pabst Blue Ribbon. They were light blue, kind of like this,
shirt,
but light blue,
yeah.
with these gorgeous embroidered,
yeah,
Pabst Blue Ribbon with the patch on the back, and the football players wanted those.
Wow.
So he'd bring a whole box load, and then they would give him like a football or this or that or a Giants hat, and then usually I got the Giants hat. My brother didn't want it. He wanted nothing to do with it.
And don't forget, the players didn't make a lot of money back then. Football, baseball.
Not like today.
I mean, look at, baseball players. They were into bowling alleys. Remember Rizzuta Berra in Clifton?
Yeah.
Bowling alley?
Do you remember Ron Michalajek?
No.
Yeah, well, he was there when we were in high school. He played for the Giants.
Oh, okay.
He was this big, oak tree kind of guy.
Yeah.
And my Uncle Johnny told me that he was talking to a bunch of the players during, they were kind of hanging out during practice, like on the side, whatever. And they were talking about partying and who drinks more beer than anybody.
Yeah.
He was tagged for drinking 312 12-ounce beers in one engagement. Now, could that be?
Wow.
I got news for you. I've seen college kids drink, like a dozen beers like it's nothing.
Yeah.
125-pound college female, no names named.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know who that was. And but who am I to say? That's a lot of beer.
Wow. Yeah. I remember.
No wonder why he's dead.
Yeah. A lot of the football players were partiers, maybe still are. Do you remember Troy Archer?
Of course. I was just thinking of him.
You remember, right? We
Yep.
saw him walk out of an establishment. It was me and you, right?
Me and you, and I think
Gene.
Me and you and Gene.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
He wasn't
I
in
think
too
we
good
were
a shape that
18.
night. Yeah. Yeah.
He and his friends were loaded. Do you remember seeing them
Yeah.
in their car on Route 17 as we were pulling out?
No.
We got onto Route 17 to come back home, and there was a car loaded with men, and they were crawling on Route 17. Now, for those of you who don't know, Route 17 is kind of like a Route 46. It's cars are doing 60, 70 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
During rush hour on a weekday, it's bumper to bumper.
Sure.
But at night, on a Friday or Saturday night, late, like, midnight, there's really kind of like nobody on that road. And they stopped. I remember who the driver was. The driver was Jim Clack. He was the center for the Giants. And they were packed in there like sardines, and there were like 4 or 5 of them because they were so huge. They were shit-faced drunk, and they stopped the car dead because they didn't know where the fuck to go. And I was like, man, if this ever hit the newspapers.
Oh, it's unfortunate how Troy
Today
Archer.
it would hit the newspapers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, he
passed away in a car accident.
The story, because I read about it after that, because I was like a Troy Archer, he was like
Tremendous football player.
As a
Number 77, I think.
74,
74.
I think he was. Well, we can look at it.
Yeah.
And he was first year was a rookie, NFL, New York Giants. He was a big ass white country boy. His ass was the size of this table, I thought, and each leg was like, wow. It's like, oh, who's going to move this guy? And he was all pro as a first year defensive tackle.
Yes,
I think,
defensive,
right? I mean,
absolutely.
They've tried to run by Troy Archer. They weren't going anywhere. And I think it was right after his first year.
Yeah.
Like not long after that. What
First,
happened
second
was
year.
He I guess because of his paycheck or something, he got himself a brand new pickup truck. And he was on some lonesome road with a turn that was sharper than he thought, and it was raining, and he was going too fast, and apparently, and his pickup truck went off the road, turned over, and hit a tree, and he died. He was dead. Troy Archer was finished before he even started.
What a bright future he had in front of him. Yeah,
Oh my
you
God.
know. You know, John, you go back to the 70s and 80s, you know, I hate to say it, but drinking and driving in our generation was kind of a hobby. I mean,
Well, we knew it shouldn't happen, but it just wasn't. There was no mechanism behind it.
yeah. I mean, if you were out at a bar, you always like said, all right, we're going to drive, so I got to start drinking water, coffee, soda.
Yeah, all the things that we saw on TV thought would work. None of it worked.
Yeah.
Coffee and milk. Give him coffee and milk.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not going to work.
But by the grace of God, right?
Right, coffee and milk. Anyway, then slowly but surely, organizations started popping up. Mothers against this, students against that. And I have a story. I've got a story for everything.
Amen.
I was working at the trauma center, and there were some real emotional moments in the trauma center.
How could there not be?
Well, you know, a lot of the other guys and gals, whether they didn't feel it or they did and they were just better at hiding it, there was a trauma alert where 3 high school girls were brought in by, one was brought in by air helicopter and the other 2 were brought in by ambulance. And the 3 of them were high school friends, classmates. And the backstory is just, I still can't get over it. There was this girl who I guess had issues in her family or friends that somebody, you know, drunk driving, killed somebody, or they were killed. You know, it was one of those family stories that was told over and over again. So she decided that when it was her time to hit high school, she was going to start and found an organization called, you know, Students Against Drunk Drivers, that kind of thing. I don't remember what the actual organization was called, but that's what it was. And on this particular night, they had an organizational meeting, and they held it at, I guess, the venue, the lecture hall in the high school. And all of the hobnobbers and the bigs were there. You know, a representative from the board, the principal of the school, you know, the school nurse, all of that stuff. So a couple of dozen people were there. People stood up, gave speeches and whatnot. So the school board president was there because he had to show his face. And when the meeting ended, the 3 girls set out walking home because the high school wasn't far from their house. And while they were walking along the sidewalk, a car was out of control and speeding. It hopped the curb and took the 3 of them out. Boom! Hit all 3 of them like a bowling ball going for the spare.
Wow.
Right. The girl that they choppered to us was mortally wounded. And her parents showed up lickety-split. And we told them, look, you know, her blood pressure's dropping. She's got blood in her belly. You know, we need to take her to the OR immediately. And they didn't really have an idea, a clue of how bad it was. We knew it could be bad, but, you know, until you open somebody up, you just don't know. We opened her up, and most of her solid organs were smashed into pate, including her liver. She had no liver left. It was, you couldn't even count the pieces. It was literally liver pate.
So she took a direct shot then.
She took a direct shot, and probably the tires ran her over. And I was a 3rd or 4th year surgery resident, and this case was all hands on deck. So I was assisting the 2 trauma attendings, and I was praying for this kid. She was 16 or 17 years old. And we were losing her. And there was nothing we can do. So the attending said to me, listen, put your fist on her aorta to keep her blood pressure up, because most of the blood that she's losing is from just below her diaphragms. The aorta is the major artery, comes off the heart, goes to the left, it goes down the chest, gives off branches, and then goes through the aortic hiatus, through the diaphragm and into the abdomen. Well, if most of the blood loss internally was from the abdominal portion, if you just put your fist on the aorta and squeeze it down, then whatever blood she has and whatever anesthesia is giving her, blood, crystalloid, FFP, fresh frozen plasma, is at least staying up here. It's perfusing her heart and her brain until we maybe get, a handle on the massive hemorrhage. Well, we never did, because we couldn't, because everything was just dog meat, unfortunately. And, in a time like that, I always look back and go, well, why couldn't we have just tied off all of the vessels to the liver? Well, it's not so easy. Of course, you can't live without a liver, but at least if we could save her life and get her over this, then we can fly her off to some transplant center. That's all pie in the sky. I don't know that that's ever actually been done. But when somebody is that badly damaged, all of your landmarks in your anatomy is gone. You don't know where anything is. And so it's not like opening up, a pristine body and going, oh, here's the liver, let's take the ligaments down, and there's the, there's the retrohepatic cava, here's the aorta, here's the, the hepatic vessels.
Wow.
Now, you can't see jack shit. The difference is, like going for a walk in the park versus going for a walk on Phuket Island the day after the tsunami. It's like, gone. And so we're losing her. And the attending said to me, well, we're going to close. And I said, well, what? Maybe we should just pack, pack, just fill her belly with packing. I was kind of a naive, wishful, prayerful thought. And they're like, no. John, take your hand out. And I was like this. And they said, John, you want to go down to the morgue with your hand in her abdomen? Take your hand out. I refused to take my hand out as they were closing. And one guy closed from her sternum down to my hand, and the other guy closed from the pubic bone up to my arm. And then when I got there, they both looked at me and they kind of said, hey, listen, this isn't the first time and this isn't going to be the last. Please take your arm out.
Wow.
And I did. I took my arm out, and these were just big Frankenstein whip stitches to close the abdomen. And I thought she was going to die expediently. And after we got out of our blood-soaked gear, I sat on one of the OR chairs, and I just watched her, and I watched the monitor. And, she was a thin 16-and-a-half-year-old girl, and her precordial impulse, where you can see her heart was going boom, 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 boom. And all I could do was just stare at that. Then I'd look up at the monitor, then stare at her heart, and look up at the monitor and stare at her heart. And I was running her whole life in my head. She was born, she's 6 months, she's a year. There's her first birthday party. Now she's 3, she's 5, she's in kindergarten, she's in grammar school. Oh my God, she graduates grammar school, now she's in high school, and the parents have so many aspirations as she does, and her grandmothers and her aunts, and it all just came in on me. And I sat there for just short of an hour, and then her impulses started to elongate. Doom, 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 doom. And of course I was correlating it with widened PQRST waves. And you can see on the EKG monitor, everything starts to widen, which means electrophysiologic dysfunction. And now it's like only one wide beat every like 10 seconds. And then it was. And all I could think of was, her parents don't have a clue. Her parents think that we're going to come out and say, wow, thank God you got her in, but she should be fine. No. Her parents are going to get a chat, and we're going to say, we're so sorry, we've done everything we can. Your daughter's internal injuries were so devastating, they weren't compatible with life. What's the punchline of the story? The school board president that was at the meeting was the one that was drunker than a fucking skunk and jumped the curb and hit them and killed them.
Ay, 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 ay. Are you freaking kidding
That's the
me?
punchline. That's a true story.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That happened to
And
my...
he couldn't hooch it up and get shit-faced from the time the meeting ended to the time he hit them, because it was only a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
He had to be at that meeting sloshed,
Before,
shit-faced.
during... Yeah.
Oh God,
yeah.
I got trauma stories. I could talk. I could do 10 hours of trauma stories.
Have you ever lost anybody in a car accident, John? Friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one we talked about the other day that's just the one that comes off the
Yeah.
top of my head.
I lost my cousin Joey. We were talking one week about working out together. She was 19 years old. I think I was 21. And the next week, car accident. 7 people involved in 2 cars. 6 people walked away. He was dead. And, telling the story about, telling those parents, my uncle and aunt were never the same after that. I mean, losing a child, it just ain't right.
No.
It's just not right.
Well-
And then, and they became very religious. They were religious before that, but then they actually went more towards God.
Yeah.
And, and then that age-old question always comes in, well, if there is a God, why doesn't he stop this, from happening?
Right. Until you leave that kind of mentality far, far, far in your rear view mirror, no pun intended, and you realize that that's a 101 question. That's positing a 101. It's a 101 supposition. The people who say that, and I say this very reverently and sincerely and lovingly, it's really it's a 101 mentality. I remember getting into a scrap with a Facebook friend going back about 8 years ago, because I used to post quotes of the saints every day. And he started to chide me and troll me. And I'm like, what the is it with this guy? Like, he just, he's one of those dark mother son of a guns that just can't let me be me. He has to challenge me.
Yeah.
And he gets into, and he couldn't wait to try to drag me publicly into his fire.
Sure.
And he was hoping that friends of his that felt the same way would jump in and try to catch me in a crossfire. And I said to him, I says, you know what? You think of the universe and you think of what I would call the creator, God, whatever name you want to call for that entity that you may or may not believe in, and you want to hold that entity responsible for what we do as human beings in an imperfect world. I said, that's your first regrettable yet understandable mistake. So God isn't here. God's not the head lifeguard in the swimming pool of life with the big whistle. Sit down. No running. You're benched. That's not how it works. This is a classroom of hard fucking knocks, and we are meant to be challenged. One of them, Christian or not, a follower of Jesus Christ or not, pick 2 or 3 people of history, historically on this planet, that were progenitors of the light. We can argue who they were, but I would agree that everyone all over the world probably has heard of Jesus of Nazareth. And I would call that person, son of Mary and Joseph, I would call Miriam and Joseph, I would call him top of the lot. Top of the lot for me. Jews don't. They laugh at that. The Muslims regard him, but I think that their their appointed deity is the blessed prophet Muhammad. For people who follow Jesus, it's Jesus. Indians, have Krishna and Babaji and whatnot. And I don't really know the nuances and whether they're equals. Buddhist, it's Gautama Buddha and his reincarnations. That's who the present Dalai Lama is, the reincarnation of the original Gautama Buddha. And, they want to make it like, we're all innocent lambs here. And, well, how could there be a benevolent God if God allows wars and God allows babies to die at birth and God allows cancer and trauma and, all of the horrible things of the world? No, we create all of that. We do. The loving, magnanimous Creator does not. So let's get that straight.
Could that be the battle, John, going on when bad things happen between good and evil forces in the world and the dimensions? I mean, because there is a Satan, there is a devil, and there is evil spirits. Yeah, amen.
After last night's speech about basically insulting the fuck out of at least half of the country, but then saying, well, we have to do this all together. As you stand there with your dark red satanic lights behind you. You think we don't know who you are? Ooh, God, please.
What was that all about? That was creepy. The background?
I don't know.
Could it meant something towards Red China?
With him, all bets are off. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It did look dark, though. Oh, there's pictures on the internet. He's holding his fists up.
Was one big fat load of shit hypocrisy. It was.
You know what he reminds me of, John? He reminds me of somebody, and I could be far off, and just trying to judge people, who was never taken serious. Like, if you talk to people about Joe Biden and his 47, 50-year career in Congress, yeah, he's all right, he's this, but he was never, like, at the forefront of anything really positive. And I think, he's, he got caught cheating. He plagiarized the speech, embarrassed himself when he ran for president, I think in the 80s. A lot of
those people do that.
Yeah, well, he got caught, and he had to apologize and bow down the one time. And I think now he finally made it to the top in his eyes, and he's feeling that power. When you, a subordinate becomes like a manager and he's not qualified, and he runs amok, and you're like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Well, it seems like
in
a concrete, right here in your face way. It seems like that's what we're witnessing.
Yeah.
I think that Joe Biden was that kind of loose cannon, often inebriated, altered state guy at the party. And people of the party, no pun intended, knew that he was crazy and knew that he wasn't the most eloquent of individuals, but he got dirty deeds done. Kind of like, a really good mafia capo. Well, he made money and he swung ugly deals because he has no remorse. He's got no empathy. He's got no sense of compassion for anybody. He's here in service to himself. And if he can bolster and edify the crooked, powerful people that he knows were watching him over the years, then ultimately multiple people owed at least him or factions that bought him through, they owed him the presidency, because I fully believe that when someone becomes the president, it's one of two things. Either a lot of powerful people owe that guy or that gal, they owe him, so no matter what, come hell or high water, they're going to make it an ostensible effort to get that person paid back by putting him in the White House. Now, before he became the president, he was doing good for all of the pond scum in the pond, the swamp creatures, That's why he's president. The other aspect, because there's two aspects, the other aspect is he's the most coercible because he's so easily blackmailed. Because he's done so many heinous things, and they probably have it all dead to rights. They've got photos and all sorts of evidence that he's the massive scumbag that he is. And by the way, that's how a lot of the secret societies proceed. When you get your swear in, you have to be legacied in, or somebody has to swear for you. And they make you do things that people witness so that one day when they come to you, if you say no, you're going to get outed. You're going to get outed, and then you'll probably end up dead or discredited. Your life will be ruined. Ruined.
There's people, John, saying, I listen to the radio all day, try and listen to a couple different stations, and they're saying that he's just doing what Obama's telling him to do.
I believe that. I don't think it's just Obama, because remember, Soros and his fucking gaggle of goons were telling Obama what to do.
Yeah.
And you know how many times he was in Obama's White House over 8 years? It was 9 times.
9 times. That we know of.
That we know of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that enemy is to society.
So I can't even, I knew that, I was up late last night, and I knew that there wouldn't be any
positive
reaction videos to that speech until today, later today, tomorrow, most likely today, because they want to, gather what they're going to say and boom, and then come out with it. But it was so disturbing to me that anybody could say the shit that he was saying and still be getting the scripted cheers from the kangaroo court. This is just like, this is just like the Sanhedrin and the Hebrews of the day when Pilate presented Jesus in the courtyard. They held Jesus's followers out, and they backfilled that courtyard with Pharisee followers who were going to say, "Free Barabbas, crucify Jesus." It was a done deal. It was bearing false witness against your neighbor.
Wow.
If you want to know what did Donald Trump do to be hated so viciously by the left that they want him dead, what did Jesus Christ do to make the people of the day, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and their followers, what did he do that was so bad that they wanted him dead? Some things haven't changed in over 2,000 years. Was Jesus perfect? Well, he was a lot more perfect than Donald J. Trump, that's for sure.
I was going to say, you're saying Donald J. Trump is a modern day Jesus Christ.
Well, no, it's that metaphorical sense, the story
teasing.
that they, I mean, I admit, I've never had disdain for anyone in my entire life like I did for Hillary Clinton. But did I want her dead? No. Jeez, no. I just wanted her to cut her shit.
Yeah.
I wanted her to just come a little bit toward the center and be transparent and a little bit altruistic for the people. But that was apparently
never going to happen.
Never going to happen. Never, never, never going to happen. Nope.
Well, I have said it in prior podcasts, John, that Donald J. Trump, 45, it takes a special person to take the beating he's taken. Say what you want about him, good, bad, indifferent. He's yellow, he's orange, his hair. I mean, the beating this man.
That is all a little bit weird, don't you think?
It is.
They couldn't get anybody to colorize him better than he is.
I know, like the real white eyeballs. I mean, yeah, and he loves himself. I mean, talk about a guy that loves himself. But who else would take that beating?
They tried to give me the virus.
He literally put his life on hold of golf course and Melania and his family, grandkids, had everything to live for. Life was easy. He could have just rode it out, trotted on his horse, galloped into the sunset. But no, he's in for a fight. And he's taken a beating after beating, 6-7 years of beatings.
Well, I tell you what, let me just say this,
Wow.
because it's almost time for
some alchemization.
Some attempt at alchemizing this. I always say, let the chips fall where they may.
I've heard
And
you
if,
say that.
and if we find out that Donald J. Trump is truly and sincerely guilty of all of these heinous things that the left is trying to say he is, if he is, then I say let the chips fall where they may. For instance, right now, I caught glimpses and little whispers of his son-in-law is in some kind of big-ass trouble for something. I don't know enough to say what it is. Stay tuned, because maybe we'll do that on the next episode. But it's funny how different people just fall on different sides of the center aisle, and the people who fall to the right of the aisle, it's that they've got those Ronnie
Piper.
Piper, remember that movie? What the hell was it called? They live among us, or they walk among us, and they put those dark glasses on, and they were like these horrible zombie ghouls that were evil. But if you took the glasses off, everybody looked okay. And I feel like people on the right of the aisle have those special glasses for not everybody on the left. I love Tulsi Gabbard, but most of those fools on the left, I can see right through them. Then the people on the left have a pair of their own glasses that can see all of the fools on the right, and they're the monsters. And so I respect that, because it can't be so black and white. There's no way. I just don't believe it's that black and white. So in that sense, I hope to God that I hope to God that the people that have been surrounding Trump, the good people, not the turncoats, not the rhinos, not the double agents, not the black hats that look like they're wearing a white hat, I hope that they're sincere, because the title of Biden's speech last night was something about speaking for the heart,
soul of the city, or soul of the nation.
Of the nation. That fucker has no soul.
Should be soulless of the nation.
Who owns his soul? Lucifer.
There's no doubt about it. That's one evil dude.
Alchemizing? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive those. I forgot. I'm so caught up.
Who trespass against us.
Say it, Phil.
You put me on the spot.
Our Father in heaven, holy be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins or trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Deliver us from evil. Amen. And that's my alchemization.
I love it
Today. How many times have I said the
Our
Lord's
Father?
Prayer?
7 billion times?
About 7 billion times. Amen,
it's that age
Phil.
thing.
And listen,
John, thank you.
Happy, what weekend is this?
Labor Day weekend.
It's the Labor Day weekend.
To all your laborious people.
Do not drink and drive.
Never.
And if you're going to drink, be kind to your liver and your brain. Be kind. And at least you still have a liver. But if you drink and drive,
a little cirrhosis.
You might smash your liver, and then somebody opens your belly in a trauma center, and they say,
ouch.
Take your hand off their aorta.
Yeah.
Don't let that happen to you.
No.
I pray. There's two people. There's two factions that I was thinking of praying for today, that I beseech you all to pray for. Pray for Joseph Biden. Pray for Joe Biden. And I mean that, because if anybody needs a whole load of loving heavenly light poured on top of him, it's him. Pray for Biden. The other faction that I would ask you to pray for would be the poor souls that are living under horrible oppression by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, the people that are locked into their high-rise concrete apartments, that have no clean water and have no medicine, and they can't get out of their compound because they're gated in. God help those people. Pray for Joe Biden, and pray for the people that are being oppressed by the Communist Party in China. Amen, Phil.
Amen. Wow, John, great job. Thank you for that episode. It's a lot of fun, a lot of seriousness there, you know, on a Friday. But hey, sometimes you got to go there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's all part of this game. If you like what we're doing on the Jersey Alchemist, press like, press subscribe, and, or what did I say?
Share.
Share.
Subscribe. Share. And
Share.
subscribe.
Till next time, people.
Okay.
Peace.
God bless.
God bless
And I
everybody.
did say that. God bless with a capital G. Ha!